Okay, so I've been thinking about this and I want to redo all my pieces. I just don't like they're on the border of being too fancy when in reality I'm going for a very simple style. So these parts really don't match each other, and on top of that they don't match the style I'm going for. So let's start with the pawn, and I'll just right click and open that part. And I don't like these ribs or whatever we've been calling these pretty much at all. So let's start by getting rid of those. And really this distance right here I could stand to be taller. So let's see if we can do that. Perfect. And it threw something out of whack. Guess what? I don't care. I don't want that anyway. And do not show again, because it's saying, hey, if you delete that line, you're also going to delete the dimension associated with that line. Well, of course, why would I need the dimension associated with the line that I'm deleting? Done. Okay, good. So that's solved. Now, let's throw a new arc in here. Actually, let's get rid of that. Don't want that. Let's see what happens when I just extend this arc. Hey, we're getting there. And let's go back to, oh, I want to trim. What would this look like if this was, yeah, it's going to extend there. Let's just undo that change. Get rid of more of what we don't like. Perfect. Now, let's try a different type of circle. A perimeter circle. 1, 2. No, that's not what I'm looking for, so I'm just going to hit escape. Let's do a regular circle. And let's make that and this tangent. Okay. Let's just see what we got here. What the heck? Okay, looks like the only thing I really want to address is that transition to that. That's no bueno. Let's go ahead and look at it in the assembly though, as long as we're at it. Models contained within the assembly have changed. Would you like to rebuild the assembly now? Don't show me again, and yes. Okay. Let's go back. Go normal to that. Edit that sketch. Let's see what extending this arc would do. And then I'll trim off these two. I don't need that all the way up there. Let's see what we got. Control Tab to move over to the assembly. Now that is a pawn that I could live with. That's a lot more what I'm going for right there. Okay, so now let's use that pawn. First of all, we're going to save that pawn. And now we're going to go through briefly, and we're going to go as Rook Rev B. I should have saved this as Pawn Rev B, but what's done is done. Now with the Rook, I do want it to be slightly taller. So perhaps, what's this? That doesn't need to be there at all. And what's that? Trim that off. Didn't notice that geometry. What needs to be a little bit taller is, whoops, undo that. Just trying to drag that dimension out of the way. Okay. What needs to be a little taller is this line right here. So if that arc stays at that radius and this arc stays at this radius, then I should be able to change the height of this to 0.125. The foot got a little bigger, so maybe I can change the overall height here to plus 0.05. Hey, there you go. Look at that. It's a little bit taller now, but it has a skinnier neck. I don't like that. So what if I change the distance here? Nope, can't do that. So actually, I don't need that to be locked in. Then I can freely drag this. Perfect. Got it. Okay. Now for the top, I just want the top to be flat. So what we're going to do here is an interesting reference geometry. We're going to create a plane. And we have to define this plane. It's going to be parallel to the top plane. And now that's not enough to define a plane, because there's an infinite number of planes that are parallel to the top plane. We need to give it another reference. We want it to be tangent to that sphere. Perfect. Done. Now I'm going to sketch on top of that plane, and I will go normal to it, and I will draw a circle of any size, or it could be a rectangle, because I'm going to use this to cut downward. Okay, we're going to do an extruded cut, and that looks good right there. Now, I'm saying here, this works fine. Make planes invisible. This works fine for my rook. Let's see what it looks like in the assembly. I don't have it in here, so we're going to insert components, rook rev B. That to me already looks 100 times better than this monstrosity. Now what we're going to do is just completely suppress this piece. It means, hey, I'm not deleting it, but we're not only making it invisible, it's as if there's nothing here but just a shadow of the rook. So it's, if I unsuppress it, none of its mate, here it is all grayed out. None of its mates got deleted. Nothing like that at all. But, and if I want to unsuppress it, boom, done, it's there. And then I can, I could edit it in context. But anyway, let's just suppress it. And then let's give this guy some mates. There we go. And there to there. Now, it's not actually taller now that I lopped off the top. And I'm not sure that I like the foot of this being taller. I kind of maybe like the foot's being the same size with the bodies being different. So, oops, there we go. Let's make the foot's the same size, and then the neck and the top of that overall taller. I'll use my measure tool to remember what the distance between here and here is, and that's 0.351, really. Let's go into the sketch and double check that. Oh yeah, it's 0.25 plus whatever distance I have here. 0.101. Let's just see if we can change that to 0.1. Perfect. Okay, so 0.35. Exit the sketch. Save the part. Go over to the rook. Let's get normal to that sketch. Let's edit that sketch. I got 0.25 plus 0.125. We don't want that. Let's just go 0.1. Okay. Let's change the overall height to, right now it's 3/4 of an inch. Let's go 0.8125. And that made this a little extra skinny. Let's just bring it back out. Exit the sketch. And my reference geometry was still to the top of the sphere, no matter where the top of the sphere was. So that's nice. I don't have to redo that. Let's look at it now, updated in the assembly. Hey, that looks cool. That looks nice and clean. I'm liking where this is going. Okay, awesome. Now, let's take that rook and let's make it into let's make that rook into a bishop. I like that. Let's do that. Rook Rev B, control tabbing. Okay, file, save as a copy and open. Bishop Rev B. Awesome, Bishop Rev B. Let's get in there. Let's edit the sketch. Oh, wrong one. That's the sketch of the cut extrude. I want to edit the sketch of the revolve. Let's edit that. Let's go normal to that. Let's do something really simple here. Actually, I don't think I want that. What I want from a rook is, here we go. Let's think this out. So first of all, I don't want this cut extrude. I'll just suppress that. Perfect. Now, from a rook, what I want to do here is lop off kind of like a gabled roof. I want to lop off here, and I want to lop off here. So we need some planes. Actually, no, we don't need planes. We need to look at this front plane here. Go normal to that. Let's sketch on that plane. And just draw out, there we go, it picks up the top of that circle, right to there, perfect, enter, 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 go right to here, awesome, enter, enter, and see if we can't do maybe well, at this point it doesn't really matter, I can draw I can draw anything right now to define what is getting cut. So how about a spline? Oh, that's not really working well at all. I'm overcomplicating this. Let's draw a couple 3-point arcs. Point, point, radius. Point, point, radius. Perfect. Now, there they are. I'm going to use that as my extrude cut. My contours are going to be that region and that region. And let's just go through all. That way I don't have to define a distance. And my direction 2 is also going to be through all. Boom. That right there may very well be a bishop. Let's see what that looks like in the assembly. Okay, insert components, Bishop Rev B. Let's just suppress that. I can suppress it by right clicking on the part itself. Give some mates here, concentric, and coincident. Boom. Hey, not bad. Not bad at all. That looks like a bishop. Now, what sticks out like a sore thumb here? It's that knight. It's definitely that knight. And I think I have a remedy for that knight. And let's use the rook as the basis for that. Let's go back to Rook Rev B. And we'll go File, Save as a copy and open. And we'll go Knight Rev B. Okay. That cut extrude. Again, let's just suppress that. And what I'm thinking for this one, I do want this plane, and I will use that to sketch on. And go normal to. And what I'm thinking about here is just the opposite of what we did with the bishop. So, some 45-degree angles here, some 3-point arcs. Point, radius. Now the cut extrude here is going to be real tricky. So let's just see what we got here. Select our contours. Let's start off as blind. Maybe that might be nice right there. Let's just, yeah, okay. Not so much. That looks like an owl. Not so much a knight. But now we know. Let's go back to our original sketch. And we really, what I'm thinking here is we just need to add some more meat. There we go. Not bad. Okay. Go back into our cut extrude, edit the feature. And this I can set a depth, or look, I can just drag that bar. That will clear everything. Okay. Now, I'm thinking, ooh, I like this. I like this a lot. Let's also use this same plane one again, which is tangent to the side and parallel to the top. Let's sketch on that again. We can sketch on planes as many times as we want, make as many sketches as we want. And let's do the same thing that we made a rook with, and let's just use any circle or rectangle and do an extruded cut downward. Now the question is how does that look in the larger assembly? Suppress that one. Let's insert the Rev B knight. Some concentric mate. Some coincident mate. I can still spin it, as you can see. Now, is that a knight? That is the $64,000 question. I think the head should be a little smaller. Maybe the angle of this snout should be a little more pronounced, maybe 60 instead of 45. And, okay, we can achieve all of that. Knight Rev B, the original revolve. Bring that in a little bit. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Wow. Let's go back to this cut extrude. Let's edit that sketch. So what happens is these arcs kind of lost their context. That's fine. We're going to remake those. We want the distance between here and here. It's not going to let me do that so these points are coincident. So let's just delete coincident to that quadrant. Delete coincident to that quadrant. Instead of 90. Oh, it's got a perpendicular. These two lines are perpendicular to themselves, so delete that perpendicularity. And now I can dimension it. Yay, alright. Instead of 90, how about 60? Great. Well, okay, so a couple things we can do. I want a line that bisects both of these. A couple different ways we can do that. First of all, I'll define this as being 30 degrees. Okay, and then I think by default that's already, yeah, exactly. You don't need to over-define that. Now that I've got that, I can click on this line and say, okay, make it horizontal. Done. Awesome. Now I just need to extend these lines, but there's nothing they can extend to. I mean, we can try it, but that line won't, it can't be extended any further. So what I'm going to do is just draw a circle so that that line can extend to it. Same with that one. Perfect. Trim what I don't need, and now I don't even have to draw my 3-point arcs. I should have them, and there we go. There we go. If I can fix that transition, not sure I need this or that, and this transition will be fine. I'd like to do that if I can in the original sketch without introducing more elements. So, or in fact, maybe at the depth at which this cuts. Choices, choices, choices. Let's see what happens if I go up to that surface. No. Up to this vertex. That's not going to work. Let's go blind, and then there. I should be able to say, here, that's my depth. No, not letting me happen. Up to body. Up to next. See if that'll work. Rebuild. Errors. Blind. 0 thickness geometry. Alright, I'm getting myself into all sorts of trouble here trying to make this night. I think what I'm going to do is call it a night, no pun intended, and come back after this in the morning, fresh. What the heck, let's try it one more time here. If I can keep that at 60 degrees, but move the entire operation off to the left, that will leave me from interference cutting anything. So let's try and do that. Let's select our geometry, move the entities in an XY to, there we go, look at that. Now that's too much. Let's go 0.01. Negative 0.0125. Let's try that. Yeah. Negative 0.05. Let's try that. Draw another circle. Trim off what we will actually extend some things. Extend here. Extend here. No. That's not really solving the problem, is it? Okay. Well, let's see what we've created. It might fix the problem in the front. Let's see if it did. Hey! That's not bad. That is not bad at all. See what it looks like. Well, that could pass as a knight. It's got elements of the rook and the bishop, which essentially is a knight. Okay, I'm happy with this. Let's call this a video, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.